What's up, mammals? My name is RedYato. Welcome back to Diet Weeb. This video is the second of a 3-part video series that I'm doing that covers my favorite anime and manga of all time and describes why exactly they resonate so well with me. I've already released my Black Clover video, so if you haven't checked that one out yet, please do so. The link will be in the description below. Today we'll be talking about the one and only Vinland Saga, and the next video will be all about One Piece, so do stay tuned for that. Before we get started, I want to give a major spoiler warning for the events of the Vinland Saga anime and manga, so if you aren't caught up to both, I suggest that you do so and come back to this video. You have been warned. Hey, also, if you want to subscribe to Diet Weeb and say hi to the notification bell for me, she'll let you know when that third installment's out. Without any further ado, let's just jump into it! Vinland Saga is a historical action manga that is written and illustrated by Makoto Yukimura and published by Kodansha. The story follows our main character, Thorfinn Karlsefni, as you accompany him throughout key moments in his life, beginning as a kid in a small village on the coast of Iceland back in the time of the Vikings. As a child, Thorfinn always wanted to be a strong warrior like his father, Thors, a former member of the organized militia known as the Jomsvikings. While all Thors ever wanted for Thorfinn was for him to live a life peacefully and without the threat of war or knowing the despair of the battlefield. One day Thors is summoned by the leader of the Jomsvikings, Floki, to assist in a campaign in England, and he has to cooperate to ensure his village's safety. Many of the other young men from Iceland accompany Thors to Jomsburg, including Thorfinn, who stowed away on the ship. On the way, he gets stopped by a band of mercenaries led by a conniving man named Askeladd, who was hired by Floki to murder Thors. Through sheer might alone, Thors dispatches the mercenaries one by one, using no weapon against armed men, defeating each with a single attack and ensuring that the enemy suffers no casualties, all at the same time. Eventually, however, through an underhanded scheming on the mercenaries' behalf, Thors must duel Askeladd in a 1v1 sword fight, because if Thors wins, him and the other young men of Iceland are free to go. Of course, Askeladd doesn't play fair and uses archers to shoot down Thors in the middle of their duel. This duel is significant not only because it's the death of Thors, but also because it's the first time that Thors has felt a reason to pick up a sword in battle in a long time. Which is important because one of Thors' core beliefs is that a true warrior shouldn't have to wield a blade. This is one of the major themes of Vinland Saga that, along with other aspects, make it, or at least some of its characters, absolute masterpieces. The story evokes plenty of philosophical questions in the reader. What does it mean to be a true warrior? What does it mean to be a man worthy of respect? What is valued most in this world? And what is the best way to obtain it? Is it power, wealth, influence, wisdom? Do you take it from others? Or do you help others and acquire influence peacefully? Can a country exist where there is no war? This last question is shown through the idea of Vinland. The idea of Vinland is a perfect utopia, the land without war, where the harvests are bountiful and the residents are peaceful. This place seems to be that of a dream for most characters, and where some will hope to find it, others hope to create it. Is Vinland an actual place, or just an idea? Thors and Leif Erikson, yes, the one from SpongeBob, had always hoped to find it someday, but there are also those who wanted to create their own Vinland. This concept is illustrated through two different characters, Prince Knut and our main character Thorfinn. Thorfinn, the son of the troll of Jomsburg, the boy who lost his father at a young age and swore to take revenge against the murderer through an honorable battle one day. The boy who lived his teenage years in the shadow of revenge, living for only a single purpose, taking revenge on Askeladd. The young man who lost his entire sense of purpose in life when Askeladd, the man he swore to take revenge against, is slain by someone else's hand. The man who found a new purpose in life and decided to steer fate toward a destination he hopes to one day reach, making amends for his previous atrocities, all the while and slowly finding a reason to live again. To Thorfinn, Vinland isn't only a place you find, but also a place you create through compassion for others, the drive to live an honest, productive existence, and by facing all the evil in the world and choosing to move past it into a better tomorrow. The perfect foil to Thorfinn is Prince Knut, the son of King Sweyn and second in line to the Danish throne. Born a sensitive nobleman, Knut was always disappointing to his father when compared to his sturdy older brother Harold, and he could not function without his retainer and true father figure, Ragnar. Eventually, after Ragnar's death at the hands of Askeladd, Knut decides that there is no justice in the world. There is no God. There are no heroes. There's only pain, misery, selfishness, and suffering. But that isn't any single man's fault, and he blames the powers that be for making mankind like this. The only way to create a nation of peace is to remove the reasons for fighting completely, to subjugate the masses under one righteous banner. Knut changes his way of thinking about the world from optimistic and romantic to cynical, pessimistic, and dreary. The only way Vinland can exist is if someone creates it, even if it has to be over a mound of bones. As Thorfinn grows into a better, more kind-hearted and honest person, Knut turns into a man of cunning, deceit, and a lust for power. This is especially well shown in the art of Vinland Saga. Early series Thorfinn's face is highly detailed, with many dark lines leading inward showing the natural scowl and scrunch of his brow, while early series Knut is clear, fair-skinned, with smooth textures and bright eyes. Once they meet at the shore of Ketil's farm, Thorfinn's eyes are brighter, whiter, and more innocent looking. Not naive, just innocent. Yet Knut's face is now hardened, aged, and intimidating. As they continue down their respective paths, each face slowly changes to reflect their motivations, goals, and intentions. Outside of the dichotomy between these two, there are other characters who try to achieve true happiness and fulfillment in other ways. The character that really sticks out in that regard is Thorkel the Tall. Here he is, standing at about... Yeah, okay, we're not doing that again. Thorkel is a gigantic man who's a warmonger and is most happy fighting a losing battle. The only thing Thorkel wants in life is to fight the strongest warriors and to change the tides of war single-handedly. This dude is introduced to us as a Dane who defected to the English side of the campaign for what reason? Wealth? Money? Women? No, he did it because they were going to lose and he wanted to fight that uphill battle. Thorkel is first shown chucking giant wooden javelins the size of full-grown men at boats like they were arrow shot from a bow. When Thorkel fights Thorfinn for the first time, Thorfinn immediately realizes that one slip-up in this battle, one direct hit from Thorkel means instant death. After getting 2 of his right fingers cut off by him, Thorkel deems Thorfinn a worthy adversary and hopes to see him again soon. Now on the topic of Thorkel, the worst thing you can do in Thorkel's presence is 1. Interfere with his duel. Many who have done this in the series are killed on the spot for sullying his honor. 2. Talk shit to a warrior he's acknowledged. Regardless of their allegiance or relationship to Thorkel, if he acknowledges a person, that means that he holds them in high esteem above most other men. He usually says something along the lines of, "Shut up, coward, this guy could kill you in an instant." And 3. Do not steal his kill. Once again, do not steal his kill. Stealing Thorkel's kill is like killing a normal man's mother right in front of him. If you do this, you better run. Some of Thorkel's other feats include throwing a javelin over a kilometer away and skewering 4 men on it, lifting a boulder bigger than a car and using it to sink a ship, kicking Thorfinn like a damn Smash Bros character and launching him above the trees and hundreds of feet away, literally being set on fire and coming out of it not too shabby. Thorkel is also Thorfinn's great uncle and Thor's uncle-in-law. Thors was the only man to ever best Thorkel in combat, and later in Thorfinn's life, Thorkel shows great admiration for him after seeing how he's walking in Thor's footsteps. He says to Thorfinn that he now finally has the same eyes that Thor's did. One concept that Thorkel struggled with more than any other was the concept of what it means to be a true warrior, and that is another major theme of Vinland Saga. What does it mean to be a true warrior? Is it being the bravest, the strongest, the smartest? Thorkel's biggest regret is never finding out what it meant to Thor specifically. Askeladd would have you believe that being a true warrior means doing whatever it takes to achieve your goal. Thors and Thorfinn arrive at a similar answer eventually, that being a true warrior means being someone who doesn't resort to violence to solve their problems. Thors couldn't avoid violence and claimed to still have more to understand before becoming a true warrior. Thorfinn is forced time and time again to resort to violence to solve his problems, but time and time again he tries harder and harder to find an alternative solution. A true warrior is someone who can solve his problems through words. Not just cheap, flimsy words with no meaning or thought behind them, true words spoken from the depths of wisdom. This is exactly what Thorkel sees reflected in Thorfinn from his father, the compassion in his eyes, the wisdom in his actions, and the courage to find a better solution regardless of the cost. This concept of a true warrior evokes another question. What does it mean to be a man? For this part of the video, I'd like to draw a parallel from Vinland Saga to something that isn't anime, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Brief spoiler warning, if you're one of the few people in the world who hasn't seen Avatar, please go watch it. Anyways, a few months back, I was watching a video on a channel called Hello Future Me, and it was about Prince Zuko, his uncle Iroh, and his father, Fire Lord Ozai. The general gist of the video was that Ozai is the epitome of toxic masculinity that claims being a man means domination and aggression, being the first to strike and forcing others to submit to your will. Meanwhile, Uncle Iroh promotes a more healthy masculinity that comes from kindness towards others, having the courage to face your own shortcomings, and having the wisdom to admit when you are at fault and when you need help. Iroh shows that being able to be vulnerable and rely on others is truly manly and takes real courage. Both of these concepts of masculinity really affect Prince Zuko's growth as a character, and this duality is what makes him and his development so memorable. It's a hell of a video, and I highly recommend you go check it out. I will link it at the top of the description. But the reason I bring this video up is because I see a lot of this duality in Thorfinn, from the positive influence of Iroh reflected in his father Thor's, and being able to see the toxic masculinity in the men of Askeladd's mercenary band throughout his childhood. Thorfinn grew up around men who would lie, cheat, pillage, rape, plunder, and he internalized all of the horrors of that way of life from an early age. Then, as he grew, he slowly started to discover what his father always meant by, "you have no enemies," through the compassion of others he met, like Einar, Leif, and Gudrid. This can also apply to the real world. As a male, I've always struggled with the concept of masculinity. I mean, I never really thought of myself as feminine, I just always struggled with this idea of toxic masculinity. The cultural zeitgeist where I'm from demands a type of machismo out of the men, that claims men have to fit a specific mold and be strong, avoid showing their feelings, and avoid showing weakness. As a 5'5", 23-year-old with a small, but athletic, frame and a baby face that couldn't intimidate a bunny, this type of masculinity was one I could never live up to, and one I always blamed myself for not fitting into. This was no fault of my parents, my family, my friends, or anyone else, but an internal battle I had to fight. Seeing it portrayed in Avatar as a kid, I never realized exactly why I admired Iroh so much, but it took reading through Vinland Saga to finally show me another interpretation of what it means to be a man. I also went through a very hard time at the beginning of this year, and my self-esteem, sense of identity, and purpose were all at an all-time low. Vinland Saga came to me at the perfect time, and showed me that it's okay to feel weak. It's okay that you're not able to do everything on your own. It's okay to rely on others. You're not weak for relying on others. You're not wrong for asking for help from time to time. The only time you lose is when you try to do it all on your own. Vinland Saga is an absolute masterpiece in my eyes, and more than anything, its characters are some of the best in fiction. Not only did I laugh, cry, and get angry with them, but I learned from them, and the story changed my life for the better. If you're still here, then that means you've made it to the end of the video, and you've listened to me gush about my second favorite series of all time, and I sincerely appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Special shout out to my editor, my other half Justin, all of our patrons and friends who make videos like this one possible, and to you for watching this video. If you liked anything I had to say or really resonated with my story, please drop a like on this video and leave a comment sharing your experiences. I would love to read them. I want to personally thank our Royal Knight tier patrons, the guys who literally keep the lights on for us, Maltar and Wong. Thank you so much, love you both. Next is our Mega tier patrons, Sinbad, Wilku, and Ludicrous Funds. Love you all. And last but certainly not least, our Ultimate tier patrons, Genesis, Future Mech, Brenda, and Wolflord. All of you are amazing and wonderful people. Thank you so very much. Until next time, I'm RedYato. Have an outstanding day. Stay thirsty, my weebs.